Hey everyone, this is the General Input crash course. The purpose of this video is to walk through all the steps for getting started with General Input, from signing up for the service to connecting your first integration, to building your first skill, to building your first workflow, and then building an app to visualize all of the data and the system that you've built. This crash course is an aggregation of these 7 different videos that we have here on generalinput.com/getting started. But this is meant to be a single video that you can watch from start to finish to get fully set up with the platform. First thing we need to do is go to generalinput.com and then hit this start free trial button in the top right corner. This will prompt you to log in with email or Google. Now this is the stage where we set up the workspace. So first thing we're going to do is add our icon, and then we can say General Input or the name of your business here. Say Jack's General Input as our slug. Then in the next screen, you choose a plan. I would recommend choosing the team plan because that'll give you up to 10 users and give you enough credits to get started and properly test out the platform. Today I'm going to hit start free so that we can continue. In this stage, you want to enter your business's website, and then we're going to tell General Input about your business or the workspace that you're setting up. So you can use this voice icon here and say, today we are setting up this workspace to house a bunch of automations and integrations for our business, which is called General Input. Cool. Then this screen, you tell General Input a little bit about your role within the workspace. So I'll say, hey Jeannie, I'm the founder of General Input. Fantastic. But the first step is to connect all of your business systems. Many of these are one-click setups, like the one I'm going to show you right now, which is Google Sheets, where you can just connect with your Google account. Same goes for Microsoft or Notion or all of the ones that you would expect. If you want to pull in other data sources, there's also API key integrations, which just require an API key to be pasted in, and it will give you a guide to do so. Then we want to choose your preferred AI model. If you're not sure, you can just pick I don't care at the bottom. I like ChatGPT. This will help tune our preferences. The first thing we want to do is connect a few of our business systems so that our agents can learn more about your business and accomplish tasks for you. Here on the left, you'll hit the integrations tab, and we're going to connect 2 more systems in addition to Google Sheets, which we've already connected. We'll connect Google Forms, and again, this is just a one-click connect. Then we'll also connect this great service called Exa, which allows us to perform internet research. So when we connect integrations that require an API key, there will be the setup guide on the right. There's one for every integration that requires a few extra steps. In this step-by-step guide, we go to the dashboard, we find our API key, we come back to General Input, and we just paste our API key into that field. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how LLMs integrate with General Input. So when we go to chat here, you can see we have an auto model. This is the best option for someone using hosted models. If you don't want to think about switching the model for each task, this will optimize your costs and switch between models automatically. You can also choose a model of your choice that we host, and we've optimized all these models to work best with General Input. Now the final option is this thing here called Set Up Local Models, where if we hit this button, it'll take you to this page for downloading the token tunnel. So hit download for Mac, it will install this application on our Mac. Now that it's downloaded, you can open it here, and then you want to drag it into your applications folder. All right, once you do that, you should open the General Input desktop application and hit sign into General Input. This will take you to a connect page, and then your desktop application will be connected to your account. Once you're signed in on the desktop application, you want to hit Token Tunnel here on the left. And this is where we sign in with the subscriptions we've already paid for from ChatGPT or Claude. Hit ChatGPT, sign in. It'll prompt you to sign in with your account. Successful. Now you can see your account shows up and your tier in the desktop application for general input. And then you want to do the same thing with Claude if you have it. Successful again. Now we see we have our Claude and our ChatGPT accounts connected to our token tunnel. And what this does is it allows us to use the tokens from these accounts in our general input dashboard. If we go back here, we can see our local models are connected. We have all these models available for use. And you can see my computer is online right now. And then if you go to the local models dropdown, you'll be able to use all of those models to chat with the integrations that are connected to your general input account and to create workflows, apps, and the like. So if we say, we want the World Cup this year, you can see it's actually using our Claude Opus 5 account to answer this question. This will give you many more tokens to work with as you draw from the subscription that you already pay for. Now that we have a few systems connected and our token tunnel set up, we need to start adding some resources to our workspace. So the first thing we're going to do is create a skill in our workspace to encompass our writing tone and our message and tell the agents in the workspace a little bit about our ICP. Because we're going to a staffing conference later this week, we're going to tailor the skill towards speaking to that audience. The first thing I recommend doing, especially if you're going to create a similar skill, is to connect your Gmail account or whatever email provider you use. You'll see why this is useful in a second. Fantastic. And then if we come over to skills, and when we're creating a skill, we really just want to ramble and tell it a little bit about what we're trying to encompass, the information we're trying to encapsulate within this skill. This is focused on our voice and our writing tone and the customers we're trying to speak to. So I'm going to hit this microphone and say, hey, Jeannie, I would like to create a skill that encompasses my writing tone and how I typically send emails and write documents. To help you get some more information, please go through the emails I've sent in the past couple of weeks and just gather some context about who we're messaging to and encapsulate that into a skill that we can use in other workflows and apps. You can continue to ramble and give it more information, but now we can hit continue. So we're just going to hit create skill. Now what this is doing is it's going to go out, look at your business systems, and distill that into a skill that you can reuse in other parts of the application. This is part of the process of mining your company knowledge, centralizing it within general input, and then using it to help you accomplish tasks in the business. So you can see it's created our skill for us. And then if you need to modify it, you can just come over to this text box and we can say something like, hey, Jeannie, can you also incorporate some of the copy from our website for more examples of how we communicate to our broader audience and customer base? All right, great. So it updated our skill. If we go back to skills, you can see this becomes a resource, just kind of like Google Docs within our application. So you can create a bunch of these for different purposes, and then agents can reference them as they do their work within your workspace. You can also hit this open chat button, which will tag the skill in the chat box, and you can mention it with @ as well, @JackVoice. And then you can do things like, can you please draft a follow-up email to my most recent customer email, put it in my email address. And then now it's going to use all that context we just told it about to accurately and reliably do the tasks that you gave it. This is great for one-off tasks, but where it really shines is when you use it to help create a workflow or an app, which we will explore in the next section. All right, now that we have our systems connected, we're going to focus on the setup of the system we're building today. So just to recap, we're about to go to a conference. We need a QR code that links to a Google form. We need a Google Sheet that will be our database. And then we need a workflow that every time a form is submitted, our agent will go out, research the person who submitted the form, qualify them, get the head count of their company, enrich all their data, and give us a full picture of the person that we spoke with. One nice thing about general input is we can set up the whole system through the platform. So we're basically just going to ramble that entire system. Hey, Jeannie, I want to set up a system today. We need a new Google Sheet that will store the individuals that we meet at the conference. And then we also need the link to this Google form encoded into a QR code. Please use the skill to help you understand the context of this task. All right, very cool. So now it's accomplished all this work. It sent us this Google form. Looks pretty good. And this Google Sheet that we will use to map all of this data. Okay, now that we've done this, we're ready for the final step, which is to create the workflow. We're going to use the voice. Say, hey, Jeannie, now we're ready to set up the workflow. This workflow should be agentic, and every time this Google form is submitted, we want to research the person who submitted it using EXA and internet research and fill the spreadsheet so that we can get an accurate picture of who stopped by our booth at the conference. Once you fill in the spreadsheet row, also send me an email with a quick summary of the person that came to the booth. It's thought a while, and now we're going to hit create workflow. Another nice part about general input is it tests it end to end for you with realistic data so that you don't have to guess or troubleshoot when the first one comes in. While it's testing, this is what it looks like now. As you can see, it's plain text readable so that you can understand it. All of these variables can be swapped out or tweaked as you need. And then when the executions come in, they look like this and can be viewed live one by one. Now that this is enabled, we can go ahead and test. Here we have our production form. Go back to general input. You can see that it's now running and it was automatically triggered by this new form response. Give that a sec. Now if I go to my email, you can see that it sent us this nice brief with all the information for Ben. If we go to the spreadsheet, see that all the fields are filled in, and it did a great job of grabbing some research. That is how you create your first workflow. As you can see, it's a nice resource here, again, just like Google Docs. And now that we have this data pipeline, we'll move on to visualizing some of the data after the conference. Now that we have a bunch of data from the conference and it's all in our Google Sheet, we can break it down and get insights from this data and take action on it going forward. Another great part about general input is that now you can turn this data into an interactive application to accomplish any goal. We're gonna come back to the same thread that we were using. Again, hit this. Say, hey, Jeannie, now that the conference is over, I would like to create an app that displays a few things. First, we want some headline metrics up top, and then we want a couple tabs, one being analytics, and then another tab, which is just a list view of all of the conference attendees that filled out our form. When you click on one of the rows in the list view, we want to take it to a detail page of that attendee and then have a flow to create a draft email in Gmail to follow up with them. Great. So in about 7 minutes, it put together that app for us. Once again, you can see it's a resource just like Google Docs. And here's what we're working with. So it looks like 40 of the 51 people at our score. We have a bunch of analytical data here to kind of break it down, which is super cool. Go over the attendees and you can see all of the rows. This is a lot easier to look at. And then we go in and we have a full detail view all the information, or we can then draft a follow-up email and then save it as a Gmail draft and then open it in Gmail. Very cool. So as you can see, we went from setting up this entire system to then the data being populated and then being able to break it down at the end. If you needed to make any stylistic edits to the app, you could chat along with it here and it would update in real time over to the right. So now we have our full system. We have our app lead tracker, our enrichment agent, and our skill that helped us create all three. Thanks for making it all the way through the general input crash course. Once again, this was just a demo system that we set up to show the capabilities of general input. The system gets drastically more powerful when you connect your business systems, bring your domain knowledge, and build systems that help you run your business. Head to generalinput.com/join and you can get started for free today.